Even though Michael Jackson, the pop king, has been dead for a long time, his name is still occasionally mentioned since it is connected to a few rumors. And that he had a couple of illegitimate offspring is one of the most persistent stories that have followed him into eternity. In relation to kids, Michael Jackson's purported biological son, B, eventually, Howard speaks up. Therefore, is it true that he is the son of the king of pop? Watch today's video to learn more about this and more. B. Howard is an American singer-songwriter with a considerable amount of experience in the music business. He is a well-known character in the music industry and is also a dancer and record producer. In addition to his many talents, Howard is well known for looking a lot like the late Michael Jackson, the pop king. Why then is his name suddenly trending on social media these days? Unbelievably, this is the reason for it. Eurovision features a Russian version, and B. According to rumors, Howard will represent the United States at this esteemed event on September 20, 2025. The American R&B singer received an invitation to participate and compete against other artists from various participating nations, including Shaman, Russia's very own pro-war pop singer. Howard has been referred to its organizers as a world-class star whose music bridges cultural divides. Therefore, it would be fascinating and enjoyable to observe how a top-tier musician like him would perform in comparison to other talented musicians. The worldwide radio and television company hosts an international singing competition called Intervision. The first took place in Czechoslovakia in the middle of the 1960s, with the intention of promoting cultural interchange between the participating nations and even some Western countries. The last one was held in 1980, hence this event was somewhat short-lived. However, Intervision has returned this year, primarily as a result of current political events. Intervision has returned since Russia opted to construct its own version of the event, after being disqualified from the 2022 Eurovision because of its invasion of Ukraine. China, South Africa, Brazil, and India are among the nations participating in the upcoming Intervision, which is scheduled to take place in Moscow this month. Despite the fact that B. Howard's involvement at the event has already been published by a number of news outlets, the singer has not yet verified the information on his Instagram account or any other social media platform. We think that if B. Howard actually participates in this event, a lot of people will watch, not only to see if he lives up to his name, but also because some people will be watching to see if his performance proves that he is indeed Michael Jackson's son. As was previously said, Howard looks a lot like Michael Jackson, if that isn't proof enough. Therefore, it's quite logical that most people would assume he's the son of the late pop king. B. Brandon Alexander B. Howard was born in Los Angeles, California, on April 2, 1981. Alicia Michelle Mickey Howard, a well-known singer and songwriter, is his mother. One man, Augie Johnson, came forward and said he was the father of Howard. In an interview with Essence back in 2020, Howard's mother refuted the accusations that this man was a member of the soul group Side Effect, stating that she had no idea what the man was discussing. His grandmother was Josephine Howard of the American gospel group, The Caravans, thus he has a natural talent for performing. Clay Graham, his grandfather, was a part of the American traditional black gospel music ensemble known as the Pilgrim Jubilees. Howard wanted to work in finance if he wasn't experimenting with music, but there was a stronger call to his passion. He ultimately made the decision to pursue a career in music, and during his formative years in Cleveland, he adopted the stage moniker Sonic. After becoming well known as a record producer and doing more behind-the-scenes work for other musicians, he launched his solo career in 2010 with the release of his single, Dance Floor. Alongside W. Clef Gann and Jasmine Sullivan, he participated in a reimagined K Noako that year as a tribute to Nelson Mandela. Among the well-known musicians he collaborated with in his early years were Vanessa Hudgens, Akon, and Neo. He was able to create, produce, dance, and sing. However, for some reason, the lingering allegation that Howard is Michael Jackson's illegitimate kid overshadows all of his accomplishments. The artist's striking likeness to the late king of pop only served to fuel these rumors. His musical technique is as distinctive as his facial traits. However, these were simply rumors. The people ignored the elephant in the room until they were unable to do so any longer. Howard was in the spotlight in 2014 after it was revealed by the well-known gossip website TMZ that he was indeed Michael Jackson's son. They claimed that Howard's connection to the Jackson family was established through a purported DNA test. Naturally, the story went viral, And as media outlets investigated different sources and conspiracy theorists added fuel to the fire, a lengthy dispute between the media and the fans ensued. Due to a number of damning factors, many people are relying more on TMZ's claim. For starters, there is no denying the King of Pop's remarkable likeness to Howard, particularly considering that Jackson had not yet undergone numerous cosmetic procedures or altered his facial features. Many people think they are directly related because of their identical mannerisms. Their musical styles are the second factor. Despite Howard's most well-known role as an R&B singer and producer, industry professionals who have collaborated with him, including those who work directly with Michael Jackson, notice how he blends popular R&B, soul, and pop elements. And lastly, the purported DNA test. According to TMZ's source, the DNA test result was 99. The likelihood that Howard was actually Jackson's son was 9%. Thankfully, the test's validity was never confirmed, leaving many onlookers and conspirators in suspense. Even though the tooth impressions were taken decades ago, the infamous gossip website revealed that Dr. Joseph Goodman, a dentist in Beverly Hills, brought them of the man in the mirror. According to Goodman, the DNA of the deceased pop artists is still present. Jackson's close friends, B and Corey Feldman. Even Howard had some doubts about these impressions. For his own peace of mind, Howard nevertheless had the DNA test, and the findings showed that he was a 99.9% match. Although Howard never said that he was Michael Jackson's son, the fact that he was haunted by it for the majority of his life is fair. Even Feldman had to admit that he felt Howard was Jackson's love kid when he was questioned about the situation. Has Howard met his presumed father, though? It seems that he did. This time, Augie Johnson disclosed that his kid had first encountered Jackson when he was a little child. In 2014, singer Augie Johnson came forward and openly admitted to being Howard's biological father in an interview with the Daily Mail. Even after DNA tests revealed that Howard was 99.9% Jackson's love kid, this declaration was made. He claimed that his family, Mickey Howard, and Jackson's brother, Jermaine, frequently visited the music star's famous property, Neverland. In any case, Augie Johnson asserted that his son's contact with the Jacksons was solely for amusement. Mickey, the mother of his then-lover Howard, was recording a song. As a result, his son made friends with the other Jackson children and spent a lot of time at the ranch. Johnson responds that his son is simply one of those children who enjoys mimicking Michael Jackson whenever someone says Howard resembles him. In addition, he noted that the King of Pop did not appear like the person that many people recognize today. As his mother, I couldn't help but mention Mickey Howard during the entire disaster. She eventually had to defend herself and speak the truth, which she did in 2020 when she went down for an interview with Essence. If you haven't heard of her, Mickey Howard is a Grammy-nominated vocalist who has hit songs including Love Under New Management and Ain't Nobody Like You. She said in the interview that she was unaware of the DNA test and just found out about it when she switched on the television. Since all of her children are now adults, she wasn't really concerned about it and assumed it would end quickly. To her surprise, though, it continued for a while. She claimed that it continued, so she was simply devastated. She believes that meeting individuals who had never heard of her as such is what saddened her the most about the entire experience. Even worse, those who knew her turned into true opportunists. Even though she is in pain herself, she can't help but care about Howard because she is his mother. Luckily for her, her son's mental health is quite stable. She was still concerned for him at the time because of the state of affairs and the terrible things she was saying. It was mentioned in this interview that Mickey Howard and the Jacksons had a non-disclosure agreement. They have those, she added, since it becomes messy when people start discussing other people's private matters. The non-disclosure agreement is also exactly how it is. They might see something you don't want shared, or you might see something they don't want shared. Mickey Howard dismissed Augie Johnson's assertion that he was Howard's father when asked what she thought of it, saying that he had only opened up cans of worms, memories, and other topics that shouldn't be discussed in public. Additionally, Mickey Howard is very aware of how much her son resembles Michael Jackson. And Mickey Howard herself was the only person who could legitimately be referred to as his father. The singer revealed that for the past 30 or so years, she had been the father. These two musicians disagree, despite Howard and his family's clear denial of any direct relationship to the silky singer. Among them is the late Aaron Carter, a former teen music sensation. Michael Jackson was involved in a number of negative rumors in his later years. The most well-known of these is that he was tried for child molesting children. Many were ready to join the bandwagon and crucify the singer, despite the fact that there are no verified reports, and that she was exonerated of all charges. American singer Aaron Carter, the younger brother of Backstreet Boys member Nick Carter, is among the few musicians who have supported him. Carter describes how his own mother attempted to extort money from Michael Jackson through him in a 2021 interview with Vlad TV. He openly discussed in the film how his mother attempted to persuade him to tell the FBI agents a falsehood about his contacts with Michael Jackson. Carter and Jackson had a few brief encounters during that time, and Carter even spent some time at the hotel where the King of Pop was staying. Carter stated how 4 FBI agents approached him there and inquired as to whether the older singer had attempted anything amusing or even mentioned sexual remarks in the slightest. His mother was obviously eager to take advantage of the money-grabbing chance when she learned of this, but Carter resisted, telling them that the older singer didn't act inappropriately or even hint at it. Ironically, this assertion contradicts his posthumous memoir, Aaron Carter, An Unfinished Story of an Unfinished Life. Carter passed away on November 5, 2022, at the age of 34. A week after his passing, his memoir was published, and some people even criticized it for being a callous attempt to garner attention and money. The All About You singer's stay in Jackson's main house was one of the book's more intriguing topics, though. Here he described how he and Jackson proceeded alone to the main home of the latter and went directly to the bedroom area. Jackson offered Carter the cot next to his bed so he could get comfortable and go to sleep as soon as possible. The younger man fell asleep without giving it much thought, but he was awakened by something a few hours later. He noticed that Jackson was standing at the foot of his cot, only wearing his underwear. According to Carter, the other man appeared to still be asleep, so he reprimanded him. Jackson then went to bed after responding, "Okay." When Carter awoke the following morning, he discovered that the room was empty. So, did the accusations made against the legendary singer have any merit? We will never be able to know. The renowned Senegalese singer and producer Akon, however, is another music legend who thinks B. Howard is Michael Jackson's illegitimate son. The singer of Don't Matter has collaborated with B and Michael Jackson. Howard. He discovers that the two are essentially two peas in a pod, much like many others. I've known B. Howard for a very long time, and I've always noticed how much he looks like Michael Jackson, and how similar his mannerisms are. In a 2014 interview, the singer told Bet.com, that question remained present throughout the entire speaking process. Akon goes on to say that the press Howard was receiving at the time was beneficial for his career, regardless of the reality. Naturally, there was no concrete evidence of the truth at the time, but for the time being, it benefits Howard since it helps him get more recognition. When the records are released, his brilliance will outshine the media attention. This was accurate since the rumors and publicity, particularly their focus on Howard, stopped when he refuted the allegations. That being said, few people get the honor of being associated to Michael Jackson, and even being compared to him. It was only a matter of time for B, because everyone had different ideas on the situation. Howard eventually spoke out about the entire disaster. Howard posted a formal statement on his official Facebook page after the issue. First of all, Howard's statement on his Facebook started, "I didn't call TMZ or anything like that. Nothing was published, no story. Second, I have never claimed to be the son of Michael Jackson. Thirdly, I will not be bringing a lawsuit against the estate. I've received excellent attention. Fourth, while I did perform a DNA test, it was unrelated to any of this. It's possible that Michael Jackson is B. Howard's father, but he was claimed as his son by another person. Michael Jackson had only one other individual associated with his name as his love child, and it's Omar Michael Janal Badi, also known as OB, a Norwegian rapper and dancer. The body was also said to be Howard, the son of Michael Jackson. In 2008, Joe Jackson, the father of the King of Pop, acknowledged to News One that Badi was indeed his grandson. The elder Jackson saw that Badi dances like Michael Jackson, in addition to having his son's appearance. Paris, one of Michael Jackson's children, also lauded her two elder brothers, Prince and Omar, on the television show, Unfiltered. As if that admission wasn't enough, Badi was reportedly born during Jackson's 1984 one-night stand with Pia Badi. Prince Omar Badi, who grew up at the Neverland Ranch in close proximity to the other Jackson children, was a nanny for one of Jackson's children. Omar was spotted with all of the singer's children in the front row and center after Jackson passed away in 2009. However, Is he actually the illegitimate son of Michael Jackson? He says that he isn't. In contrast to Howard, who refrained from publicly denying the rumors associated with his name, he merely stated that he became close to Michael Jackson while in his care. The latter turned into a father figure to him, in addition to being a mentor. We may as well discuss all three of Michael Jackson's biological children, because we have already discussed one of them. Born on February 13, 1997, Michael Joseph Prince Jackson Jr. is his eldest child. Jackson's second wife, Debbie Rowe, was his mother. However, Prince was raised solely by his father. Given that he was raised in a household full of nannies on Neverland Ranch, it would be an understatement to suggest that he was born with a silver spoon. Prince acknowledged, however, that he did not inherit his father's skills, stating that he is unable to dance like his father. Paris. Michael Catherine Jackson, Jackson's second child, was born on April 3, 1998. Paris, his most well-known kid, and her siblings were raised in disguise to conceal their identities. Paris received the most media attention when they eventually came out at their father's memorial. She is the most vocal of the Jackson children, and dabbles in acting, modeling, and singing. Her responded to actor Colman Domingo a few weeks ago, when he said that her and Prince had backed their late father movie, Michael. She even shares on her Instagram account how she read the film's early versions and made notes. "Not my monkeys, not my circus. God bless and Godspeed." Paris chose to leave the production when it failed to address those issues. Antoine Fuqua is directing the film Michael, which is scheduled for release in April 2026. Domingo plays the role of Joe Rogan, the patriarch of the Jackson family, and the film will also feature Michael Jackson's nephew, Jafar Jackson, Miles Teller, Laura Harrier, Kat Graham, Lauren Tate, Derek Luke, and Catherine Jackson are among the other names associated with the project. Given that she recently broke off her engagement and wore a see-through top and floral skirt at New York Fashion Week, Paris is also popular right now. Prince Michael Blanket Jackson, the youngest of the Jackson children, was known as Blanket as a child, but chose to drop the moniker because of bullying. His current name is Biggie. Born on February 21, 2002, to an unidentified surrogate mother, he was the youngest of the three. He was also the same child who Jackson had hung over a railing on a Berlin balcony. Biggie chooses to work behind the camera, in contrast to Paris, who loves being in front of it. Reports state that he is reportedly aiming to become a filmmaker.